to this game because it was 2 weeks ago tonight that Myles Garrett, of course, captured the attention of the sports world for all the wrong reasons. And now, this quickly, these two teams play again on Sunday in Pittsburgh. Garrett obviously will not be there. Mason Rudolph not starting. Odell Beckham, these thoughts.
From what I've learned from my experience is we create this controversy starting right here, right now, and then it leads onto the field, and it's either going to meet the expectation or not meet it. But I feel like I've been here so many times that I could sit here and we could talk it up and we could do all these things, and it can get to the field and it can get messy, and it's like we fed into it, or it's just going to be another football game. So in my eyes, it's just another football game for me.
How much does it matter? It matters a lot. This is the AFC playoff picture. You see the Steelers. They're currently locked into the second wildcard berth, having won 5 out of 6. Cleveland needs wins in the worst way. You see their chances, but their schedule is comparatively easy. In fact, it's very easy after this game. So they still very much have a chance as well. So there's so many different pieces to this. There's really no other way to describe it. It's very unfortunate that these teams are playing again so quickly after what happened. So you both played in rivalry games. We all understand what rivalry games are. Will this be even greater than that? Will this be different than any other game?
I don't think it'll be different than listen, it's a divisional game, so it means a lot. But I don't think it's going to mean anything above and beyond that because a couple reasons. One, a lot of the key players in the last meeting aren't even going to be in this game. And two, these teams, they're battling out for the postseason for a wild card spot right now. So you don't even, as a player, your focus is not even caught up on, what happened with Myles Garrett. You're literally fighting for your playoff lives right now.
Yeah, as a defender, and again, I was drafted to Cleveland, only there long enough to grab a cup of coffee, but I was there, and I understand the culture and the dynamics of that city. But Greeny, as a linebacker in the league, if Mason Rudolph was playing, I got some beef to settle. But with Mason Rudolph out and Duck Hodges out there, the level of animosity goes down as far as the interwovings of that animosity.
Well, bear in mind, no Myles Garrett, no Marquise Pouncey. They're both suspended for this game, but Mason Rudolph is not. So they are one Duck Hodges twisted ankle away from him running out onto the field.
And if Mason runs onto the field, you better believe the defense is going to be a lot more hype because now you got something to prove.
Does that change anything if he plays? Does the mentality change?
Well, I think Sheldon Richardson said it best. He's like, yeah, I want to see him.
He threw 4 picks in the game last time. I really am interested if they weren't playing Cleveland this week, if he would still be starting. Well, obviously, never know. Mike Tomlin's not taking that truth serum. All right, so we got all the NFL stuff. And then, of course, it is rivalry week in college football, headlined by some big-time matchups, starting with Alabama, Auburn in the Iron Bowl. The Crimson Tide have won 4 of the last 5 between these teams, but Auburn did win the last time they played at Jordan-Hare. That was 2017. Sneaky, interesting game is Clemson and South Carolina. Clemson hasn't lost all year, hasn't lost in 2 years. But remember, South Carolina is the team that did hand Georgia its only loss of the year. So is it possible? It's certainly not impossible. And then the game. Number 1 Ohio State on the road to face Michigan. The Buckeyes have won 7 straight in the series. So that has been complete domination there. And so, Acho, as we look at some of these, I want to start by focusing on that big game in the Big Ten. I've been saying all week long, just looking at the way these teams are sort of trending of late, it is my prediction that this is the week that Jim Harbaugh finally scales Mount Columbus. I'm calling for the upset, Michigan at home over Ohio State.
They don't have a chance, Greeny. They have absolutely no chance. I saw your tweet, so I went back and I watched the last 2 Michigan games. They're playing good football, but get this. Ohio State, Greeny, last week played bad. Turned the ball over 3 times and still won by 11 points. Michigan, as good as they're playing, as good as Shea Patterson is playing, they have no chance. Ohio State, one of the best teams we've seen in the last several years.
You know, I don't think I'd see it that way. There's also the conversation we just had about peaking too soon. Ohio State was playing as well as you can possibly play. Maybe this was a step in the other direction. One way or the other. Let's live in a world where you're right. Let's live in a world where Ohio State does win this weekend. Do they, in your mind, lock up a spot in the college football playoff even if they lose the Big Ten championship game?
Absolutely. This is Ohio State's clinching college football playoff game, and that's what the nation needs to realize, because if Ohio State wins today, it doesn't matter what happens in the Big Ten championship game. They're already in. They would have beat Cincinnati and Wisconsin, currently the number 18 and 13 team, by a combined score of 80-7. Not to mention what they already did to Wisconsin earlier on, what they already did to so many other teams, Penn State rather.
And a win over Penn State. I'm with you. I'm with you. Which does beg the question, and if you're listening right now in Alabama or places like that, you're very interested in this. If it's Minnesota, they wind up playing in the Big Ten championship game and they lose. Does that mean the Big Ten gets 2 teams in?
Yes, SEC no longer getting 2 teams. Big Ten now getting 2 teams. Minnesota, they would have beat Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Ohio State obviously.